expressed in this program and not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, the controversies surrounding the inclusion of religion in international sports. And in the second watch, dealing with dementia. For our social media question, we ask, should it be an offense for athletes to express their faith in the course of their performances? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's iQuote.
All right. Good morning. So today's iQuote says, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of." And this one is from Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, good morning, Joker.
Good morning.
Basically saying do not procrastinate.
Don't waste time.
Yeah.
Don't waste time.
Enough said. The first watch after this break.
Every community, this is the security plan. Yeah, it need all our we. Yo, make your vote. Everybody want a safer country right now. Start up, that one and CSP. One up, Marcus education and the key. Start up, crime prevention better than cure. Lock the gun there, open more doors.
Citizen Security Plan is an initiative of the Ministry of National Security in partnership with the European Union. It's an all-of-government effort to create safer streets and build stronger communities. Go to mns.gov.jm to learn how you can play your part.
Jubilee School of Impartation, 36 to 38 Valdez Road, Spanish Town, is now registering for Associate Degree course in Biblical Studies. Registration requirement is just 2 CXC subjects, including English language or literature. Our program syllabus includes theology of worship, Christian education, Christian leadership and management, and many more. We also offer short courses in entrepreneurship, communication, and presentation skills. For further information, please call 876-432-6402 or 649-2562. Send an email to jubileeschoolofimpartation@gmail.com.
One Tang packet, some water, and suddenly you've got for everyone. That's the magic of Tang. It goes a long way and tastes even better. Refreshing, fruity, and now with vitamin C, D, zinc, and fewer calories. It's the drink that fills your glass and the moment. Tang, more flavor, more to share, more to enjoy. Tang, the drink that starts the fun.
Hey, small people crew, it's me, Auntie Vashti, and I have some wisdom to share with you. Join me every discussion Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on the Small People Show, where little voices make big sounds. Inside Discussion Wednesdays, we have meaningful discussion about life skills, safety, self-awareness, and how to be the best version of you. Don't miss out. Tune in this and every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. with me, Auntie Vashti, only on the family station, Love 101.
So sing with joy, let your spirit soar. Small people doing big things forevermore.
welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, in a recent BBC Sports report, World Athletics, that's the governing body of the championships held in Tokyo last week, said it will, and I quote, remind Great Britain of its rules about religious and political slogans. And one such rule states, and I quote, no kind of demonstration or political, religious, or racial propaganda is permitted in any Olympic sites, venues, or other areas. End of quote. Now, of course, this reminder was posted after British runner Jeremiah Azu wore a headband with the slogan 100% Jesus, 100% Jesus on it. And so now that the championships are over, we continue the conversation today concerning the place of religious expressions within sports. And to help us have that conversation, we are joined so far by Dwayne Richards, CEO of Yardi Sport. Good morning to you, Mr. Richards.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners, and thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for joining us again as we talk matters related to sports, this time religion and sports. Now, your opening thoughts, Dwayne Richards, read the controversy surrounding the British sprinter Jeremiah Azu and his wearing of his headband with the words 100% Jesus.
It has become a trend in international sport where what I would consider a clampdown on freedom of expression for athletes. It transcends track and field and into football as well. And in my opinion, it's absolutely wrong. An individual should be allowed to freely express themselves as long as they don't go overboard, as long as they don't infringe on someone else's right. Then they should have the right to express themselves about how they feel about their thoughts, whether it's religion or otherwise. And in my mind, it's a direct clampdown. It's not something to say that you are infringing on someone else's rights. I think it's a direct clampdown, and it's unsavory. It's downright unsavory.
Of course, those who are doing this may argue that they're doing this in order to not to be unfair, also to set a precedence, because they might be arguing that when you give a leeway to one group or one religious or political group, then you open the floodgates automatically for others to do as they like. How you respond to that?
90. I will argue otherwise. I'm a huge fan of the English Premier League. And up until recently, for about maybe 4 or 5 years, captains of the teams were forced to wear symbolic armbands, rainbow laces, which supports a certain lifestyle, LBGTQ, FZ, whatever the letters are. Captains were forced to wear it, whether or not they were actually in support of that thing. They were forced to wear it. And I remember one captain sticking out and saying, I will not. I found him to be a hero because he told them explicitly, I will not be wearing that. Others did, they complied. I did not like it. And then at the start of this season, suddenly, they don't need to wear it anymore. It's divisive.
So that's
people have an agenda. People have an agenda, and they're using mediums such as sports and entertainment to force their agenda on people. And what happened at the World Athletics Championships is a continuation of that. That is exactly what it is. That is precisely what it is. And people use words, semantics, to try to mask what the agenda is. But it is clear. If you look carefully, you will see that it is clearly an agenda. And people, the majority, need to stand up to it.
Yes. So, based on that, you would have been okay with anybody wearing what they'd like to wear?
No. Things have to be done within reason. Things have to be done within reason, obviously.
What would be the parameters that would determine reason?
In expressing his faith is not something that's outside of what would be considered normal. There are laws that protect people to express their religious faith. So why is it a problem if you do that when you are representing yourself and your country?
Yes. And I know you can't speak for the authorities in that regard, but what do you think is behind all of this? You had mentioned the clampdown. Why would they be having these rules if not for justifiable reasons?
Like I said, in my mind, there is an agenda afoot. Why would you force people to wear an armband that supports a particular lifestyle? Force it. People had to do it. Whether or not you were in agreement with this, whether or not it's something that you want to be a part of, you were forced to wear it. It's a big agenda that's at play. It's not about whether or not somebody's religion is going to affect somebody else. There is an agenda afoot. It's clear and it's obvious.
Right. So it goes beyond the additional concerns that they mention about politics and the racial slurs.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, how common are these, as far as you know, how common are these restrictions, rules, regulations in regards to what persons can and cannot wear on the international scale?
Well, it has become commonplace now. Once upon a time, in football, for example, people wear shirts with a message, to family. Your family passed and you want to celebrate your family, and you would wear a shirt, you scored a goal, you would show that. And it has now become a problem. So if you're a football player, take, for example, our own football player, the striker, his name is slipping me now. His father died recently. He scored for Jamaica. He lifted up his shirt to celebrate it. Shamar Nicholson. And when he lifted up his shirt to celebrate it, he received a yellow card. Wow. Because we've gone from one extreme to the other. And once upon a time, when you did that, it was seen as heroic. His father died. He scored a goal. He's celebrating his father in that way. In memory of his dad, scoring, representing the country on the international scene. It's a World Cup qualifier. It's a big deal. And now we've flipped the script and gone completely out of whack, because we've lost the script. We're losing it. We're losing, and I'm concerned. I will state categorically that I'm concerned about where we're heading.
Yes. I guess we all are. That's why we're talking about it this morning. What do you think can be done and should be done? Because if this is done on the international level, talking about Olympics and the World Championships like what was held last week, what can be done and should be done in that regard?
I think we need discussions around the topic. We need discourse to find out what it is that can be done on a local level and take it from there, because we need to govern ourselves. We are an independent body, an independent country, and we need to have our own governance for all people.
Yes.
With our standards.
Yes. All right. Yeah. All that thought there, Dwayne Richards. We are going to break and then we'll be right back.
As a contractor
I never work without a plan.
As an electrician, protection is always a priority.
If you're a small business owner or an independent contractor, there's a plan that gives you protection and coverage. Sagicor Pro Shield. Get up to $1 million critical illness coverage and cover up to 80% of your medical costs for as little as $15,510 every 3 months. Get the protection you need with Sagicor Pro Shield. Call 876-936-7784. Conditions apply.
Are you ready for something mega? Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion, April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Restaurant Heineken, True Milk, Rex, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carriers. Juice Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart, best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Rating Gaming and Laws Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in the first watch, we are looking on the controversies surrounding the inclusion of religion in international sports, at least religious symbols and the statements. And in so doing, we have online Dwayne Richards, who is CEO of Yarde Sports. Now, in the first half of this first watch, we had some interesting remarks made by Dwayne Richards, who is concerned about what is the trend over the years. Still with us, Mr. Richards?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, because this trend also goes the other end of the spectrum. I think Neymar seemed to have worn the same headband, 100% Jesus, when he collected his Olympic gold on home soil back in 2016. And the response to him was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes. And you mentioned Neymar. Another Brazilian who did that was Kaká. Mm-hmm. Kaká wore that shirt all the time. And when he scored, he would raise up his shirt and say 100% Jesus. A very, very humble young man who did very well for Brazil. And like you said, over the years, I didn't realize that long, because he said 2016, so that's almost a decade. And how long, there's been this thing where your religious freedoms have literally come under attack.
Yes. This whole matter of religion and sports is really interesting, because there are some other things happening over the years. And I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the practice of teams praying before they perform, asking God to grant them the victory over their opponents?
That is something that happens every day in every football match, that you watch. And when you see the athletes, even if you pay attention to the athletes, when they're warming up in track and field and they're warming up, you'll see them take a moment to themselves and ask for that extra energy, that extra push. You know what athletes do. I was an athlete, and I'd pray before, whether it's at a race I'm running or playing a football match. And these are things that you do, and whichever God you praise, you pray to him for that guidance, for that protection, so that you can.
No, but I stick up in right there, Dwayne Richards. I'm talking specifically of asking God to grant them victory over their opponents. Is that a justifiable prayer?
Everybody does it.
Is it right?
Everybody does it.
Is it right?
I don't know that it's wrong. You pray for victory. You are going to pray for victory because you want to win. It's a competition, and obviously you try to pray for victory, to do your best. And whether or not it's good enough, that will be determined on the field of play, in battle, so to speak. But you pray for it, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with praying to win. You get up every day, and you pray to have a good day, whether at work or wherever it is that you're going, and that's the battle that you face for the day. A young person is going to school, you pray to have a good day in school. Your battle is with being able to concentrate, to focus, and to do well in school. Those are battles. Every day we battle. Every day we battle in whatever sphere of life that we're in. And we pray for that. We pray for the ability to do that.
Mm. I guess the irony is if you have both teams praying to the same God, the same prayer for victory.
The same prayer to the same God, and you hear them. Sometimes it's a very similar prayer, and we're hoping that we will win. But then it comes down to ability. You know, what are you capable of doing? Did you prepare well enough? Those are the things that make the difference.
Generally speaking, what role do you think, if any, religion should play in sports?
I don't know that there is a role that religion plays. I think that it's from an individual perspective, because there will be different people within a team, in a team setting, will have varying religious beliefs, and they will pray different prayers. And so you allow people to choose the prayer and choose to worship how they want to worship, and you do not force them to worship how they don't want to worship, or to take part in things that they don't want to take part in. And that goes back to the rainbow laces issue that I spoke about earlier. You know, it isn't something that you should force on people. None of it should be forced. We should be allowed the freedom of choice.
Mm. And therefore, if on the international scene, for example, let's say Olympics or World Championships, a Muslim before the race would turn to the east and begin to pray before the race starts. What would be your thoughts on that?
That should be allowed to happen. In football, Ramadan is observed by athletes. For example, because in England there are so many different religious groups that people are playing in the English Premier League, and a lot of them observe Ramadan. And during the matches, they actually allow them to take a small break when the time is allowed.
Where's that? In England? In England, talking?
In the Premier League, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the players who observe Ramadan, they actually break the game to allow them to get something to eat, because during the course of the day they can't eat anything at all. And they'll pause the game to observe that, to give them a chance to get something into their bodies.
As far as you're concerned, as far as you know, is that the same in terms of the international competitions like Olympics?
I don't know. I do not know, but I know that
I doubt it.
In football in England, because when it is happening, you're aware of it. The commentators will speak about it, you know? So you're aware that it is happening. And that is supporting somebody in their religious beliefs and in their choices. And that's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be accommodating and not divisive with it, and prevent people from being able to express themselves. If they're not in any way, shape, or form infringing on anybody else's rights, then they should be allowed to observe what they want to observe. That's my belief.
Yes. And I guess in support of your argument and your concerns, there are those who are raising the matter of the display of logos of official sponsors being allowed within these international competitions, and yet still in terms of religious expressions, that's a no-no.
That's and the thing about the slogan is that, and the logos, is that the sponsors pay for brand visibility, and that's okay. And what you can do is, if you're not a sponsor, is to display a logo of some other entity who is not sponsoring the event. And that I also understand and agree with, because if somebody's investing their money for brand visibility, then they get out of place.
Mm-hmm. What should persons like the young man we mentioned there, Azu, do? Because I gather that after that reminder from the authorities was posted, that when he ran in a subsequent race, that 100% Jesus headband was not worn.
Yeah, because he has to conform with British athletics, because if he doesn't conform with them, then he won't be able to represent the country again. And athletics is his bread and butter. So he will have to comply.
He'll have to. He'll have to. Or shouldn't he take a stand? Shouldn't he have taken a stand?
He has to make a choice. I'm not saying that he has to. He has to make a choice.
Yeah.
Of whether he's going to continue to run with the band and then get denied the opportunity to perform, or comply with the rules. Because in that moment, British athletics has to comply with the order that they've been given. And that's when now I believe that dialogue has to come into play to be able to make the adjustments going forward to allow freedom of expression of the athletes.
So Dwayne Richards, if you were in Jeremiah Azu's shoe and position last week, what would you have done?
If I were him,
yes, sir,
I'd wear it again.
And be banned.
I'd wear it again.
And be banned.
Yeah, you have to stand on the principle.
Yes, yes.
Stand on the principle.
Yes.
Because if you don't, then they'll push you around even further. They'll continue to push the envelope until such time that there is nothing left to be pushed.
Yeah, because I can imagine the difficulty he was in. But in one hand, to wear the band, sending a clear signal of one's allegiance to Jesus Christ, and when this reminder is made to not wear it, I'm wondering the signal that was further sent to others.
Yeah. It's a strong signal sent to others that you have to comply.
Yeah. Going forward, you had mentioned earlier about the on the local level, and I want to emphasize that, because if we have these concerns, Jamaica, of course, is a big deal on the sporting international field. What can Jamaicans do? What can our authorities here do to address these issues if they are concerned as you are?
Well, that's where it starts. Are they concerned? Are the persons in authority concerned, or are they in compliance with, or in agreement with what the world trend is? And that's where it starts. That the discussions begin. Are you in agreement with it, or do you think that we should have our own?
They might ban them too. They might ban Jamaica and say, well, if you can't comply, then you find the highway.
Yeah, and that's where it is, and that's where rubber meets the road, as they would say. And that's where it is, and that's where it becomes really, really difficult. The challenges become really, really difficult because people need to earn, and we earn through sport.
So we compromise. Doing.
Yeah, that's how it ends up being played out, unfortunately.
Yeah. As we wrap, what are some of the lessons therefore? Because I believe that sports is life, and there are many lessons from sports. Yes, what can we learn and should we learn from this discussion and what happened last week and over the other months before in regards to these restrictions?
What we've learned is that powerful people make decisions for us even if we do not want to be a part of it. And we need to figure out how we can get our power back.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. We need to be able to stand on our power and to figure out how it is that we can get our power back.
And we might
incident that is not related to football that took place in the US with one of those late-time talk show hosts. He lost his job, and people didn't like it, and they stood on their power, and
he's back.
They spoke with their money,
and he's back.
Cancellation of subscriptions, and now he's back on television on doing a show again.
Yeah,
because the people stood on their power.
Yeah. And of course, we need to remember that story in the Old Testament of Daniel. To dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand for your principles, regardless of the consequences. And I know that's easier said than done.
And that's why I named my son Daniel.
Smart choice, sir. A good note on which to end. Thank you very much, Dwayne Richard, CEO of Yardi Sports. Interesting stuff. Listeners, the Morning Watch will be back in just a moment.
your journey with a JN Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million. The time by JN Small Business Loan is
7:30.
Here's why you can't afford to miss the Morning Watch.
I love listening to the Morning Watch because topics are discussed and issues are highlighted that are of major importance, which in turn edify me.
The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I like listening to the Morning Watch. I find it very informative. I find it very interesting. The topics that are covered are very, very wide.
The Morning Watch, thought-provoking, insightful, current. Listen for the probing questions with attorney at law Stokely Marshall and the in-depth discussion with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint.
Every Tuesday, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Bashco. Bashco, the store that gives you more.
When we started this company, we were focused on helping people find their way. And when it comes to critical illness and life insurance, we're all about helping people find a way to live more. Like our JN Life Aid that covers your first diagnosis and is there in case of a second occurrence. That's how much we're invested in you living your life. Welcome to the art of living insurance from JN Life.
We're in the hurricane season and the hottest time of the year. But no worries, Lanco has you covered. By the way, you're covered with Lanco Cool Guard or Urethanizer roof coating yet? Use Lanco roof coatings to waterproof your roof and also benefit from a cooler home with our advanced Thermoflex technology. Get 10 to 20% discount on Lanco Urethanizer and Cool Guard roof coating island-wide this hurricane season. Lanco, your waterproofing expert.
It's the Super Savings Sales event you can't afford to miss. Now on at Home and Things. Massive deals on almost everything in store. Tiles, bathroom fixtures, faucets, vanities, lightings, windows, doors, home decor, and so much more. Upgrade your space with unbeatable savings on all your construction finishes from Home and Things. But hurry! It's for a limited time only. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more. Don't miss the Super Savings Sales event now on at Home and Things, Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road.
Shake and go, come at you, shake and go. Step on the wheel, have to increase the tempo. Come at you, shake and go. Flavors real nice, nutrition for your lifestyle. Come at you, shake and go. The net we are kids, schoolboy football season and keep. Come at you, shake and go. Try these delicious new flavors today: chocolate, vanilla, peanut, and butter pecan. Come at you, shake and go.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. We see here that Education Ministry calls on students to report bullying. Also, Companies Office of Jamaica reports more transactions with fewer in-person customers as its digital services grow. Also, Prime Minister Holness to deliver strong statement at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. And Court of Appeal calls on relevant authorities to address homeless people issue. And then finally, NWC announces easing of some water restrictions in Kingston and St. Andrew. Those are some of the major stories, headlines in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll share some of the feedback from our social media question. Should it be an offense for athletes to express their faith in the course of their performances? I repeat, should it be an offense for athletes to express their faith in the course of their performances? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
Imagine $2 million to boost your business. With your NCB Visa credit card, that dream could be yours. Just tap and spend 120,000 Jamaican dollars or more between September 12 and October 31, and you could win one of 3 amazing prizes. 2 million Jamaican dollars for your business investments, 1 million Jamaican dollars to train your team, or 500,000 Jamaican dollars back on your card. Boost your business with every tap. Learn more at ncb.com/Visa Boost. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
When we started this company, we were focused on helping people find their way. And when it comes to critical illness and life insurance, we're all about helping people find a way to live more. Like our JN Life Aid that covers your first diagnosis and is there in case of a second occurrence. That's how much we're invested in you living your life. Welcome to the art of living insurance from JN Life.
We're in the hurricane season and the hottest time of the year. But no worries, Lanco has you covered. By the way, you're covered with Lanco Cool Guard or Urethanizer roof coating yet? Use Lanco roof coatings to waterproof your roof and also benefit from a cooler home with our advanced Thermoflex technology. Get 10 to 20% discount on Lanco Urethanizer and Cool Guard roof coating island-wide this hurricane season. Lanco, your waterproofing expert.
Strawberry, chocolate snackables full of flavor. It depend the list, one leap of flavors. Butterkiss can't miss. From 19 all long, Butterkiss is amazingly good, great taste to savor. Butter make you slide into flavor, and that's why everybody pray for Butterkiss forever and ever. The original cookie is Butterkiss. Give me Butterkiss. Give me Butterkiss sandwich biscuit and cookie. Give me Butterkiss. Parrot cookies a long time favorite, never miss. Give me Butterkiss. Give me Butterkiss.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. Should it be an offense for athletes to express their faith in the course of their performances? Jokal.
All right, so I have Paula Powell. Paula Powell says, I observed a Jamaican male athlete rocking a God-centered headband at the recent World Championships. All right. Let's go to Cherry in Spanish Town. Cherry says, I believe everyone has a right to express their religion as long as they don't go overboard or infringe on anyone and done within reason. Those same persons who are clamping down will call on the name of Jesus Christ when they are in dire needs. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ of Nazareth is the Lord. Monica says it's only a matter of time before World Athletics governing body will restrict athletes from thanking God in their interviews. This next person is Kim. Kim says, I believe people should be able to freely express themselves. That is a right as long as they're doing it, or as long as they're not doing something that will cause harm to those around them or is deeply offensive. Those are our responses.
Yeah, a mouthful there. But we appreciate each and every one. And I agree with the thought that maybe in the future they clamp down on expressing thanks to God, in the interviews.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Now, as we go into our second watch, last week, in what the Gleaner calls a rare interview, the husband of former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller disclosed that she is living with dementia. And we pray all the best for Mama P. Now, it is reported that globally, around 55 million people are affected by this disease, and advocates and caregivers continue to seek appropriate support and treatment accordingly. Here in Jamaica, this advocacy and care is no different, we believe. And to share their experiences and to give some information about dementia, we are joined by Dr. Patrice Charles King, CEO and lead counseling psychologist of Phoenix Counseling Center, as well as Dr. Sharon McKenzie. She's a gerontologist, recreational therapist, health coach, and senior lecturer at the University of the West Indies. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Great, good to have you with us. I begin with you, Dr. Charles King. For the record, what really is dementia and what are its signs and symptoms?
Okay, so dementia is a broad term that's used to describe a set of brain disorders that affect memory, thinking, behavior, and daily functioning. And unlike what most people think, dementia is actually not a normal part of aging. However, age is a major risk factor for it. And so some of the common types of dementia that we hear is Alzheimer's, but then you also have vascular dementia, Lewy body, frontal temporal dementia, and you have even a mixed type of dementia. But I think most persons are familiar with Alzheimer's.
Yes. So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, not the other way around.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a type of dementia.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. And any symptoms that you'd like to highlight?
Okay, so some of the early signs of dementia could include memory lapses, difficulty planning or solving problems, confusion with time or place or person, just some basic trouble with basic familiar tasks that you're used to, language problems. You may have mood and behavior changes. And of course, constantly misplacing items. And I think over time, the symptoms would progress and they would increase. The rate and pattern will, however, vary depending on who the individual is and the severity of it, and the stage that you're in.
Yeah.
And the dementia is it's one of those diseases that is difficult to live with, especially when you have a partner or a family member who has it, because their daily routine changes so much.
Yeah.
And so when you have a parent that has dementia and a child that has to now take care of that parent, so the parent-child relationship switches. Or when you have a partner, a husband or a wife that has dementia, that husband-wife partnership changes because you now have to care for them in such a broad way. So there is definitely an increase in the dependence for what we call ADLs, the activities of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, feeding, and of course that communication challenge, the conversations that you used to have that was free-flowing can become very frustrating. And sometimes when you don't understand what dementia is all about.
Mm.
You may think that the individual is that they're doing or saying things deliberately to frustrate you when they're really not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then you have just the basic concerns when you're at home, the wandering away from home. We've heard it on the news so many times of senior citizens or persons wandering away from home and being reported missing and
Yes.
falling. And of course, someone that has dementia should not be allowed to manage their medication by themselves.
Yes.
And this just creates a significant emotional impact,
Yes.
especially for the caregiver.
Yes.
The
Hold that
emotional
thought.
impact is the biggest thing.
Yeah, hold that thought, please, Dr. Charles. We want to bring in Dr. Mackenzie, but I gather we're upon a break. So right after, we'll hear more from Dr. Mackenzie.
Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. The time by Grace Good Move is
Just about 7:46 a.m.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the second watch, we are seeking to deal as best as possible with dementia. And in so doing, we have online Dr. Sharon Mackenzie. She's a gerontologist, recreational therapist, health coach, and a senior lecturer at University of the West Indies. We also have Dr. Patrice Charles King, CEO and counseling psychologist of Phoenix Counseling Center. In the first half of this second half, we heard a lot about what dementia is and its symptoms. Dr. Mackenzie, before you add anything that you think you may need to add, especially in terms of the causes or the factors influencing dementia, could you, for those maybe asking, tell us who is a gerontologist and a recreational therapist?
Okay, gerontologists really study the process of aging, starting from early stage in life all the way through to end stage of life. So really studying and focusing more on older adults, looking at their overall psychosocial health. You know, with a geriatrician, they're looking more in terms of medical aspects of aging. A gerontologist is looking at all of the other aspects in terms of our well-being, overall quality of life, and really studying and making sure that the older person ages well. And then recreation therapists really just using recreational activities as a treatment modality. So in the same way how you might have an occupational therapist focusing on fine motor skills and so on, a recreation therapist does all of those things, but using activities and recreation as a treatment modality.
Yes. And in your line of work, what are some of the causes you have picked up in terms of dementia, the factors that influence it?
Well, as Dr. Charles King just mentioned, really looking at overall lifestyle. Sometimes we know that age is a factor. We know that it might be that you have genetic predisposition. So there are particular genes that they might say, such as we call it the ApoE4 gene, where if you have that in the family, then that might be a predisposition. But really, it's about lifestyle. Are we exercising, eating well? If someone has diabetes, if they have hypertension, some of the other kinds of health issues that may predispose individuals to get dementia.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to add to what she talks about, you have it's an umbrella of symptoms or brain disease. It's really, really important for families to identify what type of dementia. Is it a vascular dementia? Is it the Alzheimer's type? Because in so doing, then you will know if is this going to be progressive? Is it going to be where, because with a stroke, it may not, the person, depending on the parts of the brain that the person had the stroke, the progression may not be as as fast as, let's say, if someone has Alzheimer's type dementia.
Yes.
So it's really important to know what type of dementia the person has.
Yes. And you mentioned vascular dementia vis-a-vis Alzheimer's and others. How do we know that? What's vascular dementia?
So it's like if someone has a stroke, right? So we're and especially in Jamaica, most of the dementias that we see from studies with Dr. Eleanor Meyer-Shear, where she shares that most of the dementia that we see in Jamaica are in fact vascular dementia, where individuals may have a stroke, and so they have problems with their memory, compared to individuals who over time you can tell that someone is getting progressively worse, and so they're we do the diagnosis based on family interviews, family history, doing a CAT scan. So there are a series of tests that might be done to where it will be able to identify whether, is it an Alzheimer's type of dementia, or did the person actually have, a stroke?
Yeah. And Dr. Charles King, there's so many similarities, I gather, with these different types. And Dr. Mackenzie mentioned the diagnosis. How is that done along with the CAT scan and all of that? Anything else in the process?
I mean, there are clinical tests that can be used to determine the level of cognition that an individual has. And so that's basically through drawings and through a series of questions, we can determine what your memory is, what your level of cognition is, and how aware you are orientation to person, place, and time.
Can it be prevented, Dr. Charles King?
If dementia can be prevented?
Yes.
I don't know about it. Well, there isn't a cure.
Yeah.
There are things that can be done. Like what Doc said, lifestyle, paying attention to your lifestyle. But if you're predisposed to it, I doubt that there's anything that can be done about that. But again, it's really paying attention to your lifestyle. And then, of course, there are different types of dementia. And so if you have a stroke, or if you're in an accident and there's physical damage to your frontal temporal, I mean, that's really nothing that you can do to prevent that type of dementia.
And even though it's sometimes age-related, it doesn't necessarily mean that aging, those who are aged, those who are older, those who are seniors will get it, correct?
Oh, absolutely not.
Correct.
My father's 89, going into his 90th year, and he's a bright spark. I have difficulty keeping up with him. He's in the process of writing another book.
Yeah.
So, age does not equate to dementia.
Yeah. Dr.
I think if I can just add that, what's really, really important is when we're talking about possibly prevention or delay, is that individuals really focus on their lifestyle. Again, there's a recent study that just came out where they showed that being active in terms of physical activity, doing activity
like what?
30 to 40, doing exercise, walking, 30 to 40 minutes 3 times a week. Watching your diet. So, making sure you're eating leafy greens, make sure you're eating the grains, make sure you're eating berries. We have so many fruits here, in Jamaica. We need to increase, our food intake. Our mental stimulation, are we doing types of activities where we're learning a new thing, learning a language, introducing yourself to a new environment and learning about that environment. We're moving away from, learning about the herbs and stuff, maybe going back and learning the herbs, whatever. A big factor also is socialization. That study talks about that individuals who are engaged in more social activity, because a lot of times, especially post-COVID, we had a lot of folks who were isolated. Older adults were being isolated. So it's important for the engagement at the church,
Yes.
doing things outside, connecting with other people, that's going to be a protective factor.
Yes.
And then also in terms of just having a positive attitude, being grateful, trying to reduce stress, a simple thing as, going by the water, going by the river. Like we have all of the things here that's going to help with some of these things. So it's all of these things that I'm talking about. It's all lifestyle. That's going to delay, the some of the progression of one getting dementia.
Yes. Dr. Charles King, you said that there's no known cure. Treatment options, could you share that with us?
Oh, okay. So remember, I'm not a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do know that there are new treatment options for dementia, for Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
I can't exactly tell you the medical options, though. But I do know that because I own and operate a nursing home in Kingston, Georgia Outdoor Center, and we do specialize in Alzheimer's and dementia. And most of our clients have dementia, and one of the things that I know helps and slows the process is exactly what Doc said. Is it's keeping them stimulated through conversations, through activities such as gardening, arts and crafts, board games,
crossword puzzles.
Yes, puzzles. And even reading to them, discussing current events with them, it definitely helps to slow the process. And how you communicate with them, how we encourage, and even keeping them hydrated. So we have a routine of hydration and movement, going for walks, sitting outside, and that definitely helps you can see how they respond to you and how they converse with you. That they're brighter. If you just leave someone that's progressing in their dementia to just be alone and just sit with no stimulation, I guarantee that they will progress through the stages of dementia a lot faster than someone that's being stimulated and cared for.
Yes. Great.
And if you typically a medical doctor might prescribe Aricept is a popular one, Namenda, but just keep in mind that those types of medication, they're not to cure, but it's to maybe decrease the behaviors that one might see, and decrease some of the symptoms, but it's not going to necessarily cure the person. And so that's why, again, participating in all of those things that Dr. Charles just said as well is very important.
Yes, we've been talking one side of the coin so far. The other side of the coin, the family and caregivers who live with persons diagnosed with dementia. You want to say anything on that, Dr. McKenzie, first of all?
Well, I always say to family members that in the same way when we're flying and they say to put the mask on so that you can get oxygen and then you can help your child.
Right.
I would say the same thing for families. It's really important for family members to work together and to come together and to take care of themselves. It's important for family members to really, if they're seeing the signs and symptoms, and to really come together and talk about, okay, what is this? How are we going to manage? How are we going to support mom or dad or aunt or whoever it is? It's really important for families to work together. And I'm saying families, but it doesn't have to be the typical family. It could be the neighbor. It could be, whatever that community is, or for that person, that support system, that they come together. If it's one person that's the primary caregiver, it's again important for that person to really take care of themselves and pull in others to provide support and to provide respite for that person. So that way the burden is not falling on them. Yeah. Because then what happens is that person's health then, gets worse because they're providing 24-hour care.
Yeah.
And also sometimes it's difficult, even if you're bringing someone in, you're bringing in paid caregivers, navigating that that system of taking care, it's still a lot of work. It's still
Got to leave it there. Got to leave it there. The caregivers need giving themselves. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies. Dr. Charles King and Dr. Mackenzie, Sharon Mackenzie, for joining us. Have a safe and productive day.
You too. As well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information on how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. Of course, this has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer and our guests. I'm Dylan Tassant, returning you to Love in the Morning.